UN Commission for Social Development, whose priority theme will be promoting democracy, gender equality, and ensuring tolerance and nonviolence. Chair, I hear no objection. You've got to be kidding me. This is the world that we're in. So right now, as the regime in Iran is slaughtering people, you look at something like this picture right here, and it's just absolutely astounding. Thank you, Donna in Canada, for sending us that note and reminding us of these facts. It's just absolutely insanity. By the way, speaking of Canada, absolutely awful shooting yesterday. I'll talk a little bit about that because, again, you look at this, you just go, this stuff is just absolutely ridiculous. Okay, let's move over here. Are you ready for this? Sam Darnold, he was the winning quarterback in the Super Bowl the other day. You know where the Bad Bunny, okay, now I gotta say it's Bad Bunny, right? I don't really want to talk about Bad Bunny, but so Bad Bunny does a Super Bowl halftime show. And all these people across America are saying, it was wonderful. It's actually a very tasteful show. The next day they started reading the lyrics in English and said, Houston, I think we have a problem. At least some people did. And some people think, oh, that's perfectly okay. That shows you how screwed up the Western world really is. Appalling stuff. Anyways, Sam Darnold, winning quarterback, Super Bowl. Check this out. This is the state of California for you, because the Super Bowl is played in California, up in the San Francisco area. It's about 500 miles from me. It's way up north. But watch this, way up north from me. Oh, Dan Bongino puts it out there. Watch this.
This guy in the Super Bowl goes there to play in San Francisco, this guy Darnold, Sam Darnold, the quarterback for Seattle. Seattle, another high-tech area. And they wind up getting a bonus for winning, and they lose money. How do you lose money on a bonus? Only in blue cities where people die on the street, and the only other metric for death is how purple they are. I'm not kidding. Listen to this. This is crazy.
For winning the Super Bowl, the winning team, each player gets $178,000. In other words, the Super Bowl isn't a part of their salary. And because the game was played in California, and California has a jock tax, and they look at duty days, so each team spends 7 days in the state of California. So those are 7 duty days, and they pierce your regular salary at 3.5%. So he has to pay, when you take into account he got the $178,000 plus his overall salary, he has to pay the state of California for spending 7 days there $249,000.
That's just so stupid.
I mean, yeah, but it ends up costing him $71,000 to go play in California.
How do you screw that up? You can't even go play a freaking football game in California without losing money? And again, we're taking advice from these idiots?
Yeah, I mean, how stupid. I mean, you have to pay money to go play in California. Pookie says, bad dummy. Yeah, I'd say they're all a bunch of bad dummies. All right. Speaking of, we keep seeing this, okay, watch it. Look at this shirt. I'm going to show you this. Or protester, right? Holding up a sign, no one is illegal on stolen land, right? The first time I read it, I thought it said noon is legal on stolen land. Then I realized, okay, it's no one is legal on stolen land. All right, it's pretty absurd. Okay, let's work through this because who was it that Billie Eilish went out there and said that, and then she found out she's living on stolen land. Boy, I haven't heard much from her in the last 7 days. That's another story. But let's think of this. No one is illegal on stolen land. As one person commented, anyone going to tell her that Spain conquered the Native Americans over 300 years ago, and then Mexico fought the natives for 25 years, and then the United States fought Mexico, ultimately purchasing it from them. And by the way, here's a list of Native Americans stealing land from other Native Americans. The Aztec Empire conquered and dominated dozens of tribes in central Mexico, used warfare and human sacrifice, oppressed groups later allied with Spain to overthrow them. The Iroquois conducted the Beaver Wars, destroyed and displaced tribes like the Huron, Erie, and neutral nations expanded aggressively using European weapons. Then there's the Comanche that built what historians call the Comanche Empire, wiped out or displaced Apaches, Tonkawa, and others, controlled huge areas of Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico through raids. And then the Apache frequently fought and displaced Pueblo, Ute, and other tribes, known for long-running raiding warfare across the Southwest. And there's the Lakota Sioux, migrated west and pushed out Crow, Pawnee, and others, took control of the Black Hills before U.S. expansion reached the area. The Cree expanded rapidly with firearms, displaced Dean and other northern tribes. But the education system won't teach real kids the history. They teach them a weaponized history meant for current political power. By the way, I'm going to just make a note of it. Just real quick, a nation of Israel, little bit of history, all right? So, this is what Israel does. God says, go into the land. By the way, we have his book. His book, I'd say this book is the title deed to the land of Israel. God says, I've created it, I'm giving it to you. Nevertheless, they go into the land. Hey, all these enemies are going to attack you. You got to eliminate the enemy. Guess what? They're all gone, right? They're all gone. Even the Jebusites, which Israel didn't eliminate, right? But they're all gone. Okay, so you have the Amorites, the Amalekites, the Philistines, and on down the list. I'll make this as quick as we can. All those people groups, they are all gone. All of them are gone. There's only one people group in the entire planet that can say, we are the indigenous people to the land. You can't, I just showed you with the Americas, you can't do this idiotic stuff. No one is legal on stolen land. It's totally idiotic. Nevertheless, the only people group that could actually do that is the Jews regarding the land of Israel. Wait a minute, and check this out. After they get into the land, they did 5 land purchases. That's right, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 land purchases. You have Jacob purchasing Shechem. You have Abraham purchasing Hebron. You have Jeremiah. He also purchased land in Judea from his cousin. You have also in Samaria, you have King Omri purchased land and called it Samaria. And then, of course, the one that most people know, David purchased the threshing floor where the first and second temple stood from Araunah, the Jebusite. And David actually said, Araunah says, hey, I'm going to give it to you, David. I want you to have it free. David says, far be it from me that I would offer to the Lord that which cost me nothing. 5 land purchases. No other people group in the entire world could say we are the indigenous people except the Jews. Then Israel gets booted out of the land by the Babylonians. They come back, right, which is another story with the land that Jeremiah purchased, which is rather cool, but don't have time for that right now. And then they get booted out of the land again by the Romans, and then they come back in 1948, and you'll roll around and people get all upset. They try to eliminate them. And then the British mandate says you can have the land. The UN says you can have the land. And then also, as the Zionist movement began, the Jews started to purchase the land a second time in the early 1900s, taking the swampland, the land that the Arabs didn't want, at an exorbitant, a huge price, way more than the property was worth because the Arabs didn't want it. And then it was all swampland. It was disgusting. It was, what's his name? The author, I can't even think of his name, Mark Twain, who said, oh, this is a wasteland. It is desolate. So the Jews purchased it from the Arabs a second time, and now it's this thriving piece of land. And the only people in the entire world that can say, we are the indigenous people and we have a right to the land by purchasing the land twice, by no other contester can say this is our land. You have legal documents with the UN, aka the League of Nations, way back then. You have the Balfour Declaration. You have the British Mandate. You have all of these different things, and even as other people groups attempted to eliminate them from the planet, Israel acquired a little bit more of the land that they were originally given to by God, and yet people say they're the only people that can't have the land. That stuff is just the only people in the world with no contesters at all that can make any claim is the Jews. Jacob, just as the Bible teaches. But no, you won't hear that kind of stuff, will you? Oh, Patty Stordoff says, you look like a gray-haired Liberace. That is funny. Is my hair really gray? I thought it was just kind of white. I didn't know it was gray. Gray-haired Liberace. I'm not so sure. Hey, can we get a different jacket? That was a cold shot, Patty. That was funny, though, gotta admit. Hey, by the way, we have our You Can't Make This Up shirts. See? We have our You Can't Make This Up shirts. We have, if it's cold out, we don't have these kind of jackets. But we do have the Hope for Time jackets. If it's cold out where you are, we have the coffee mugs and stuff like that. So, again. All right. So, I forgot where I was. Oh, I closed my laptop, so I lost my place. I want to show you this. Let's move over to Canada, because just absolute tragedy struck there. It's awful, but let's bring out some facts, right? Let's bring out some facts. In fact, I'll deal with it in more detail in my news update coming up in a couple hours. But I'm going to show you a couple of posts by Babylon Bee, because they take something and they turn it into it's parody, and yet they say things that you know are true. So check this out. Babylon Bee. Look at this spokesperson. Look at this. Police persons identify gun person. A Canadian reporter person announces police persons have identified gun person. What does this have to do with? The fact that the Canadian authorities would not admit that it was a transgender person that just shot all those people yesterday. Why can they not say this? You start looking, why is it that it's just shooting after shooting after shooting? Why can't they admit it? It's this transgender stuff. And some people blame it on transgender drugs. No, it's because we've gotten away from God. And all that is good, and there's a massive vacuum, spiritual vacuum that has been formed because people say we don't want God, so the devil comes in. And my friends, that's what's happening. It is spiritual, it's demonic, it is dark, it is wicked. This delusion has come upon the land. That's what's going on. And tragedy is struck, and people are being slaughtered. And why the heck can't anybody just tell what the truth is? Boys are supposed to be boys, and girls are girls. You aren't going to take if you call the vet and you say, I got to bring my dog in, they're going to say, is it a male or a female? They aren't going to say, is it one of the 973,000 genders that are out there? Is your dog a furry? Of course they're not. I mean, come on. This is the world that we live in. So, Babylon Bee. Next picture they have. Look at this one, Babylon Bee. Truth. Media baffled as to anything mass shooters might possibly have in common. Hello. The whole transgender stuff. What in the world is going on? And speaking of transgenderism, look at this. This is just, the world's just gone mad. The world's gone mad, and evil and lawlessness is bounding, and people are being killed. Look at this one. This is in Florida, Miss Florida, I think it is. Let me see if I can pull this up a little bit so I can read it. Give me just a second here, folks. I want to make sure that I can read what you guys can read. I have it in here somewhere. Here we go. Okay. It says, Miss Florida, unbelievable, Miss North Florida, winner Kaylee Bush, this is posted by Terrence K. Williams. Winner Kaylee Bush has reportedly had her crown revoked after speaking out that men cannot become women. She declined to sign a Miss America contract that she says would require her to compete against biological males. This is disgusting. And a firm belief she disagrees with. She stated, I didn't lose my crown because I broke a rule. I lost the crown because I was unwilling to rewrite the truth. Ain't that the truth? And in Canada, you have that. And it's not just Canada. It's been happening in the U.S., obviously, more than it has in Canada. And then you see this. Listen, boys are boys and girls are girls. Even, what's his name? Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Even that guy knew it. We should play. Hey, we need to have that one for next week, you guys. To get the truth out there. Pookie, Tommy, the Jesse kid in Canada who did the evil deed, did you see him in a room on video laughing his guts out? If you did, who was in his body? Demons can't expose themselves, but only in a body. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe that any of this stuff is not demonic that we see taking place. And you know what? It's adults that lead kids into doing this stuff. I don't know how old this person was in Canada that did this, but it's absolutely despicable. So there was a scripture up there a little bit ago, and I lost it. There it is. Oh, 16:19. Oh, the Peter passage. Yes. Listen, so some people take, this is Bobby Munt says, can you explain Matthew chapter 16, verse 19? Yes, in a nutshell. So people take this. In fact, if you go to Israel, this is one of the cool things you get to see. You go up to, whether you go with me or somebody else, I'd love to have you go with me. It'd be great. And if you're going with me in April, we're going to be in this exact spot. So Matthew chapter 16, Jesus is up at Caesarea Philippi with the disciples, and and I don't want to give it away for anybody who's going to Israel. So I'm not going to say too much here, because when you see it in person, it's like, it is, your head's just going to explode. It's like, wow, this is crazy. All the events of Matthew chapter 16. In fact, in verse 13, it says, when Jesus came into the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, who do men say that I, the Son of Man, is? And so they said, some say John the Baptist, some Elijah, others Jeremiah, one of the prophets. He said to them, but who do you say that I am? So I'm not going to give you all the details of it, especially if you're going to Israel with me, but let's just say you definitely get the wow factor when you go to Caesarea Philippi and you read this passage and you realize this all took place right there. I mean, I get so excited about that. And we're going to Israel again in October with Pastor Brandon Holthouse and Olivier Melnick, and a full-on conference, an Israeli conference with Israeli worship of Yeshua in the Galilee region at a five-star resort. It's going to be off the charts. The whole thing's going to be off the charts. It's a tour plus a conference plus the worship. God, it's going to be great. Okay, back to what I'm talking about. So Peter answers and says to Jesus, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Jesus answered and said to him, blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I also say to you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail, and I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, whatever you loose on earth will be loosed. And then he commanded his disciples that they should tell no one that he was Jesus the Christ. So you look at this whole concept. So the Catholic Church, I was raised Catholic, and the Catholic Church teaches that this is where Jesus basically says, Peter, you're the first pope. It's not true, but they go that direction with it. You're the pope, and in here. I also say to you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church. The gates of Hades will not prevail against it. On this rock I will build my church. And they say, see, Peter was a rock, and upon him the church is built. No, the rock, Peter's name, Petrus, meant little rock. But Jesus says, on this rock, what you said, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. That statement, that is the rock, the foundation, Jesus Christ. Upon him being the Christ, the church will be built. Not the Catholic Church, not the papacy, not the Vatican, none of that. And all of the ties with the keys to the kingdom of heaven, they all have to do with that, and they have absolutely nothing to do with the Pope. Okay, moving on. Check this out. This is President of Austria. He says in Europe, women should be wearing hijabs. You just got to get used to it. Watch this video.
Die Frau kann ein Kopftuch tragen. Und wenn das so weitergeht, und damit bin ich schon bei der nächsten Frage, bei dieser tatsächlich um sich greifenden Islamophobie, wird noch der Tag kommen, wo wir alle Frauen bitten müssen, ein Kopftuch zu tragen. Alle. Als Solidarität gegenüber jenen, die es aus religiösen Gründen tun.
Got to be in solidarity with you just got to wear a hijab to be in solidarity with them for religious purpose. Has anyone ever said, hey, you just got to be in solidarity, and so you got to carry around a Bible and you got to quote the Lord's Prayer or something like that? This is just insane. He's already saying you got to be in solidarity with them for the religious purposes, so you're going to have to wear a hijab. Absolutely nuts. Anyways, you want to see something kind of funny? Tucker Carlson, the man who always tells the truth. Somebody just compiled this video. It's rather insightful. Watch this.
Hamas is a group of jihadis. They're Islamic extremists, which they also claim constantly. Which I don't know if that's true. By the way, it seems more like a political organization.
Raised some eyebrows this week when you said that Hamas is more like a political organization than a terror group.
I didn't say that.
And as someone who has zero interest in participating in any kind of boycott, much less against Israel, I'm just not interested. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Whatever, buy the hummus.
And I wasn't on Twitter, but I kept getting texts from people like, oh, they're so mad at you about the hummus or something. Hummus. Since when is hummus Jew? It's an Arab food.
The one person we know who has crystal clarity on what's happening, not just in this country, but in the world, someone who's watched it and chronicled it for years now, his name is Douglas Murray.
I know Douglas, and I think that I've always gotten along with him, and I think that he's clever, but he's hardly an expert on anything.
Well,
So, like, what? Dave Rubin, whoever that is. Dave Rubin, though, does he matter? That's why Dave is like just a child. Like, you don't pay any attention to Dave.
Tucker blurbed my book. He wrote, Dave Rubin is one of the bravest, smartest people I know, as well as a tremendous television presence.
I think U.S. aid, military aid to Israel and the implied security guarantees, some explicit, but many implied security guarantees of the United States to Israel probably haven't helped Israel that much long term, It's a rich country with a highly capable population. Like every other country, it's probably best if it makes its decisions based on what it can do by itself. That country couldn't exist not for a week without U.S. backing.
Calling people names, anti-Semite, isolationist, to get them to stop talking is not the way to serve your country. That's all I'm saying. And a bunch of low IQ Republican senator warmonger freaks.
America's supporting Israel because it's an ally.
I don't even know what those words mean. I'm just saying principle
they're
is
an ally, right? I mean, they both.
I don't know what that means to be an ally.
To say we don't care what the president of the United States wants in his foreign policy.
That's not the behavior of an ally.
What if Qatar was our closest ally? Again, not promoting Qatar. I'm not moving there.
I am, however, tomorrow buying a place in Qatar.
I am, however, buying a place in Qatar. I mean, the hypocrisy of this guy. This is the same guy that I was watching him a while back. He goes, all you want to talk about is Israel. All you want to talk about is Israel. He get on the guest. All you want to, and then you watch him on all of his programs. All he does is talk about Israel. I got to pull up one of those clips for you too. Israel, 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 Israel. On his own program. He can't stop talking. It reminds me, talked about this a lot last couple of days, is Zechariah chapter 12, verse 2, that in that day, God will make Jerusalem an intoxicating drink, and the enemies of Israel will stagger because of her. That it's like an intoxicating drink to Tucker Carlson and the rest of them, and they're staggering because of her. By the way, we have a program at Rock Harbor Church coming up. It's about once a month. We had it last night. It was live. It was great. For those of you who watched us, it's in Bakersfield. Pastor Brandon is the host, and I get to join him. The next one is coming up in just a few weeks. We will let you know about that. But we kicked it off last night. We're also going to be including guests. All different kinds of guests are going to be coming and joining us. It's going to be a great program. It's great last night. Hope you, for those of you who are able to make it there, God bless you guys. For those of you who joined us online, fantastic. And you can watch it both right here, Hope for Our Times, and on our channels, and also on Rock Harbor's and Tip of the Spear. So check them all out. Pretty cool. Okay, you ready? Got to show you this next one. Pookie says Tucker is smoking a bowl. For those of you who don't know what that means, you just got to go back to like the 1970s. Okay, anyways, let's go here. Dog. Oh, I'm going to show you this. Let's show you this video. This is great. If this is the kind of dog you need and the kind of door you need when you got a thief that comes to your house. This is a short video, so you got to pay attention. Very, very short. Ready? Watch this. Oh, wouldn't that be, that'd be great. I mean, some of you are like, I can't believe it. Listen, that was cool. All right, I'm to show you some really awful singing right now. This is going to be bad. And I won't make you sit through the whole thing. I sat through the whole thing. Some of my guys here made me sit through the whole thing. They said, you've got to watch this. Do we have the Tucker Israel clip? We have it? All right. I'm going to show you the singing. We're going to hold off on the singing. You got to see the singing because it's going to make you go, is this real? And there you go. You can't make this up. Let's show you the Tucker Israel clip. And then we're going to go to the singing that you've just got to hear because it'll make your ears bleed. Yeah, watch this with Tucker.
Stop talking about Israel all the time.
Israel, 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 Israeli, Israel, 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 Israel.
Stop.
You guys all want to talk about it. That's great. Again, just proof, right? Zechariah chapter 12, verse 2. God will make Jerusalem an intoxicating drink so the enemies of Israel will stagger against her. That looks like Tucker Carlson. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, okay, you ready for some singing? I don't think you're going to call this worship. I'm not going to make you sit through the whole thing. I wouldn't do that to you. But let's just let our ears bleed for just a minute. Watch this.
De-ice our neighborhoods, invite our neighbors in. I'm gonna de-ice our neighborhood, invite our neighbors in. We're gonna heal this world with love. Tear down the fences. Gonna tear down the fences, invite my neighbors in. I'm gonna tear down the fences, invite my neighbors.
Oh, I got so caught up in there. Incredible. I guess that was like an anti-ice song, and you go, man, friends, there really is something wrong. Yes, there is. Opie has something to say. Oh, actually, Aunt B has something to say about this. Watch, Aunt B and Opie.
Goodness, Opie, why aren't you dressed for school yet?
I ain't going to school today, Aunt B. I'm meeting some of the fellows to protest ice down by the Lyrin Center.
Oh, now, Opie, how many times have your father and I told you to stop hanging around a bunch of retards?
I'm so sorry. Oh, anyways, thank you for joining me today. Sorry, listen, Josh, something about wearing chicken to match my jacket. Billy didn't send me any chicken. For some reason, Billy don't like chicken. Anyways, that was great. I think I'm going to have to watch this over and over, especially with that MP one. Oh, that was great. Hey, listen, if you would like, share, and subscribe to this channel, but warn your friends ahead of time what's coming, because it's coming. Well, that was inspiring listening to her sing, says Diane Scott. Diane, if you sing like that, don't join your worship team wherever you are. Don't. That was great. Listen, we have a Seder coming up, also in Bakersfield, Pastor Brandon's church. Check it out. It's going to be incredible catered dinner. Josh Aaron's going to be also joining us for worship. Bob Probert is going to be leading the Seder presentation. That will be in Bakersfield, California, coming up on Good Friday, April 3. Why do we celebrate the Seder? I will tell you what. Why do we celebrate Passover? Because this is what Jesus said. You know, when Jesus at the Last Supper, you know what he was celebrating? Passover. You know what he said? Do this in remembrance of me. So we do this in remembrance of him. And we will be in Las Vegas at Kurt Reed's church coming up in there's everybody that's going to be at Kurt's conference, March 20 and 22. The weekend after that, I will be in Indiana at a prophecy conference. Going to be absolutely fantastic there. Also, check out all of the events at hopeforourtimes.com. And right now, by the way, shirts, coffee mugs. Can't have this sign. We only have one of them. Thank you, Tim from Florida. Okay, you guys ready? Tip of the week. Accept the fact that some days you are the pigeon and some days you are the statue. There you go. God bless you guys all. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had a really delightful time, and no, you can't make this up.